Foster, the winner of this one. Let's get up now to the center of the ring, Danny Valdivia, and meet the combatants in the second fight.
Here we go, lightweights, 6 rounds. Our third man in the ring, Ross Strada. In the red corner, wearing black trunks, he weighed in at 133.5 pounds from Whiting, Indiana. A professional record of 69 wins, 1 loss, 17 wins by knockout, Marty Jakubowski. In the blue corner, wearing white trunks with blue trim at 136 pounds from Cincinnati, Ohio. His record is 24 wins, 16 losses, 6 wins by knockout, Mark Cannon Brannon.
All right, gentlemen, you already received your instructions. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my command at all times. Are there any questions from either corner? Let's go.
So look at Marty Jakubowski. He has fought 70 fights. To say that he's an active fighter is to make a great understatement. 69-1. The 1 loss, I would say, is forgivable.
Yeah, that was to Julio Cesar Chavez. He stepped up in weight to fight him as a junior welterweight.
At 142 pounds. And Mark Brannon, also an experienced fighter. Jakubowski not a real threat to get a guy out of there. He's got 17 knockouts, but most of them have come by attrition.
Of course, these 2 guys did get in the ring together once before. Years ago, they fought to a split decision win for Jakubowski, and that was way at the beginning of their careers.
This was back in 1991, and at that point, they promised each other they would have a return. And a left hand by Jakubowski rocked Brannon.
And interestingly, we haven't commented yet on what a small ring this is. This ring is about 16.5 feet. This is one of the smallest rings I've ever seen. And even though both these guys are boxer types, what you're seeing is what you're seeing, which is a lot of action. So the small size of the ring in a certain sense will help make this an action fight.
Double left hand by Jakubowski and a left hand by Brannon.
Marty Jakubowski has as quick hands as you would like to see. Very, very quick puncher. We actually showed Mark Brannon in his pro debut back in 1986 in French Lick, Indiana. One of the several shows we did in that town.
These guys, you talked about the fights they had back in 1991. They also fought earlier this year. It was a no-decision fight back in January. They both happened to be in the same place and were looking for a fight, and both their opponents fell out, so they fought each other. But it was a fight wherein there was no decision.
And in this case, Brannon was brought in after several of Jakubowski's opponents had fallen out.
It's kind of the nature of the beast. Jakubowski, you can see, gives you a lot of movement.
Yeah, his footwork is excellent. Sometimes what he does is a little bit unorthodox, but he's so fast. He's a good athlete.
He's also very honest with us this morning. You were talking to him about the fact that, well, you know, you move a lot, but you're not a runner. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, if I have to be a runner, I'll be a runner.
I would run. He's giving him a compliment. He didn't want to take it. Mark Brannon did a pretty good job of getting leverage on those counter punches.
Coming to the end of the first round, and this has all the makings of a real action fight. We'll be back. First round. It was a rather close first round, although I believe Jakubowski did a little bit more in that first round.
Brannon did some good counter punching, even though Marty Jakubowski really pressed the action. And I ended up giving the round to Marty, but for Mark Brannon, though, there were some good moments.
Yes, sir. Again. Here are the numbers. You can see actually Jakubowski almost 2-1 in the punches landed department and a much higher connect percentage.
It's interesting that Brannon threw something more. Nice combo.
Triple left hand for Jakubowski.
Yes, sir. I see you. Yes, sir.
Jakubowski, we were wondering about the Chavez fight. And he said, he said, I'd do it again. He said, I lost in 6 rounds. He said, but I hung in there for a while. He said, I stepped up in weight, but he said, I wasn't going to turn down a chance to fight a legend.
He also said he learned a lot in that fight, which I'm sure you would.
Great comment. He said after a while, he said Chavez was anticipating what I was going to do before I even did it. Well,
exactly right.
Mark Brannon just hurt his left hand or his left shoulder.
Yeah. Still trying to get it back.
And he switched to lefty, to try and alleviate the problem.
He threw the left hand there. Maybe it is back. Might have popped the shoulder for a moment.
It almost looked that way. And now he's throwing it, so
yeah.
Whatever the problem was, it was momentary.
That's a pro, too, who covered for it. Switched up. Didn't panic.
They disputed the split decision that Jakubowski won over Brannon.
Yeah, Brannon felt he won the fight, and that gives you courage, and I really think that has a lot to do with his performance here.
If I was in Hammond, Indiana, near where Marty Jakubowski lives. Whiting, Indiana, where he had been.
Yeah, he says Chicago is a suburb of Whiting.
I was Chicago, and I resent that comment.
Clash of heads there. Good left hand from Jakubowski and a good right hand from Brannon. It's a great exchange. Terrific stuff. It's like Rocky.
Exactly. And Marty Jakubowski just kind of put his hands down and let Brannon hit him with a hook. I think that last hook kind of shook him a little bit.
They're really just mirroring each other here. Oh, high on entertainment value, I'll tell you that. Corner of Brannon.
You're looking good. Damn, you look good at step game. That's what I'm talking about.
You got a full toe, man.
Okay, you got shoulder. I'm all right, though. Doc right here. Yes, sir. He all right, Doc. All right? Yeah, I think I'm right on the tip. Right? Yeah. We'll get some ice. Okay, thanks, man. Boy, how to fight down. You fighting a hell of a fight, son. Showing what we came here for. We ain't gonna lay down this one. We getting in that ass. But this is what I want.
Well, not high on technical advice, but kind of encouraging in any case. Here was the exchange toward the end that you aptly described as something out of a Rocky movie. They just kind of wailed away, and in a moment or two, you'll see them just stand and nail each other with punches. Yeah, it's like you hit me, I'll hit you, and the last one hurt.
We'll both be standing.
Saw a movie today on TV with Carl Weathers, who played Apollo Creed. Those are the kind of exchanges he and Stallone had.
That's right. I did a story on Carl Weathers when he was a linebacker for the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, fine football player.
In fact, I took him into a theater and had him do a reading from Othello.
No.
Yeah.
How about that? Was it good?
Yes.
Well, here's some news that has nothing to do with the theater, well, in a sense.
I'm not sure about that. This has had a high theatrical value.
Yes, Marty Jakubowski with a slight edge in round 2. I ended up giving the round to Brannon, but Mark Brannon now posturing what Marty's liking it. He's a very, he's got a great personality, as does Brannon, and he's just looking at him and saying, hey, I like that. That's kind of good. I might steal that move.
It is. It's great. And if we talk about, just to keep the theater analogy a little bit more, I mean, this has been very good theater so far.
And I was talking to Bruce Trampler, the matchmaker for Top Rank, and we were both kidding. Usually styles make fights. In this case, the ring makes a fight, because these guys are both boxer types, but in this small ring, they have no choice but to slug almost. Brannon wants to counter him off the ropes, yeah. He says, come on, Marty. Jakubowski's smiling.
Brannon peppering it.
Well, this is as aggressive as I've seen Mark Brannon in the times we've seen him. He is going after this. He's charged up, and he feels like this is a winnable fight, and he's going for it.
You know, the other thing that's obvious, and this may sound like a strange comment, it's obvious these two guys like each other.
Yeah, and there's respect. When Marty Jakubowski was talking about Brannon, he said, no, he's good. He said, we'll find out how far I've come along since I beat him in that split decision. Oh, beautiful move by Marty Jakubowski. He rushed in and then quickly jumped to his right and nailed Brannon with a right hand. That was intriguing.
Right down, Brandon, right down.
Jakubowski's jab has been underused. Now he's starting to use it. Brannon has won the battle of the jab. Well, this is now a close round after a good start by Brannon.
Right down. I see you.
It's a very tough round to score.
Really.
Five, Brandon, five.
End of the third round. Take your pick who won this one.
Mark Brannon was waving him, and Jakubowski rushes in, quickly moves to his right, and nails Brannon with the right hand. Now, that was a clever move. The only mistake he made was stepping back out and letting Brannon out of the corner.
So this is the fourth round. Scheduled for 8.
Watch your tongue, watch your tongue.
Marty Jakubowski had 35, count them, 35 fights last year.
Wow. I've got it even. I gave mid last round even, and the first two I split between the two fighters.
Hands up.
Jakubowski is not a huge puncher, as evidenced by 17 knockouts and 69 wins. That is not a good total for Jakubowski because he relies a lot on his jab. And the fact that Brannon is throwing so many more, even if his percentage is great landing.
I don't know what happened there. I don't know if there was a headbutt or what, but Brannon backed away and sort of rubbed his nose as though he might have taken the top of Jakubowski's head and his nose. Seemed to be in a little pain. Now he appears all right.
You know what's interesting? When Brannon shows Jakubowski some lateral movement, it gives him some trouble.
Yes, sir.
It's the old theory, too. A lot of times they say boxers, oh, that was low. Well, that was a genuine low blow. Brannon says, okay, should have taken some time to relax and get over it.
Come on, Marty. Take his pace, Dad. Yes, sir. Are you ready? Keep up, Marty.
Jakubowski's making a serious strategic error here by underusing his jab so much. It's really one of the things that makes his whole attack go. Also, Brannon's forcing him to be the aggressor. Good defense on the ropes by Brannon. He counterpunches well off those ropes.
Yeah, and Jakubowski missing a lot in this round.
See, it's Brannon that's setting things up with the jab, even if all those don't land.
Right. Get back, right back. Box. Yes, sir.
Body shot in the right hand ahead by Jakubowski. End of round 4 and still a very close fight. 5 now, we're going 8. Marty Jakubowski, Mark Brannon. Jakubowski in the black trunks, Brannon in the white.
Yes, sir.
Jakubowski, who is only 24 years of age, but to have 70 pro fights at that point is pretty astonishing.
Double up on that hook. Yes, sir. I see you.
We are told now, incidentally, that this fight has been shortened to a 6-round fight on our bout sheet. says 8 rounds, but we're going 6. So that changes things appreciably, I would think, in terms of styles for these two, because the fight is still there to be had. So this is the second to last round, and I apologize, I was taking it off the bout sheet. And Brannon stuck his head through the ropes, might be hurt. Now he fights off the ropes. Right hand from Brannon. Over the left eye of Brannon. I believe it's anything too serious.
Jakubowski using his jab a little bit more. That's what helped him in this round, I think.
For the end of round number 5. And we are still told that, to the best of our knowledge, is the 6-round fight. I'm assuming that is correct.
This is true. And so for this last round, there's going to be a big important impact on which fighter can get it going here. Of course, these are normally 10-round fighters.
You got it so far.
Here's the part in the last round in which Mark Brannon got all hung up on the ropes, literally. And Marty Jakubowski there to try and take advantage of it. Yeah, these fighters normally would be going 10, so for them, they've had to get it in gear quicker in this fight.
Go to work. Go to work. Quick count left, right? Sit down on your seat, all right? Let's go.
6th and final round. Numbers through 5 rounds. Jakubowski with 27 punches landed edge, but a much higher connect percentage.
And you can see, oh, nice right. You can see that this one is close like their other fight. And no matter how this one ends in terms of decision, somebody might have a gripe. Now there's the jab. What a different fighter Marty Jakubowski is when he uses the jab. It just makes everything work for him. Well, nothing wrong with that. Mark Brannon's upset, but guess what? You're supposed to defend yourself at all times. He's the one that turned around to Jakubowski. Of course, Jakubowski had a little patting of his rump to make it worse. But in truth, I mean, Brannon should have just defended himself. And you got to understand, this is not a referee that's going to jump in and take control of stuff. In that instance, he's kind of a hands-off referee.
Right. Right.
But Jakubowski's having himself a very nice 6th round here.
And it remains to be seen whether or not he needs it.
What a difference when he throws those jabs and doubles up with him. It makes everything happen for him. And Brannon, you see when he jabs, he's effective.
Well, it's been an entertaining fight.
No,
Anyway.
very much so. If I was Mark Brannon, I don't know if I would be moving that much. Right to the body kind of hurt Brannon.
Looked like it, didn't it?
I give him credit for being able to move it all in this ring, a 16-foot ring, and make it effective. If Brannon's tired.
In which case, the 6th round fight would behoove him.
Yeah. He's taking a pounding here in this 6th round.
Right down, baby.
So we head for the end of this fight with 6 seconds left, and I believe Marty Jakubowski might have done enough. Certainly won that round, and if it was decided on that round, then Jakubowski, I believe, clearly won that. So it is in the hands of the judges.
And we're told Marty Jakubowski threw 42 punches in that round and landed 25. Now that is the way he's supposed to fight. And it made a difference for him, didn't it?
Oh. Here is the punch numbers from this fight, and Jakubowski with a decided edge of 51 punches landed, despite the fact that Brannon threw more punches.
And that should be enough to give Jakubowski the decision. I had him winning the fight, but that man, Mark Brannon, he did a good job.
Shoulder, good job, man.
So let's get up to the center of the ring and the announcement of the winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 hard-fought rounds, the judges all agree the same scorecard, 60-54. The winner by unanimous decision, Marty Jakubowski.
Well, he won it on all rounds is a big surprise, but Marty Jakubowski is a unanimous decision winner. We'll be back to talk with him after this. Al Bernstein back at the Tulsa County Expo Square. We're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the pavilion of the fairgrounds. Let's get up now to the center of the ring. Al Bernstein with the winner. Al.
Thank you, Barry. I am here with Marty Jakubowski, who made a nice debut here on ESPN, and you performed as you normally do, a lot of hand speed. But one thing that surprised me, Marty, was you didn't get to go to your jab as much early in the bout.
Yeah, you know, I really didn't realize it was working as good as it was until the 5th and 6th round. And, you know, I'm used to doing 10 rounds and having a little more time to figure things out. But they cut it down to a 6 on the way in. And, you know, the body shots I felt were working for me. I stuck with them. And then the last round, I noticed how easy it was to hit him with the jab, so I kept on pumping it in his face.
You made a good point when that fight was moved back down to 6. For you, a fighter who relies on going the distance and working through a fight, that doesn't necessarily help you.
No, and it worried me because Mark Brannon knew he was in shape to go 6 rounds for sure, and he knew he could push a hard 6 rounds, I figured. And 10 would have been a different story because I could have done the same pace, and I would have picked it up through the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th rounds, you know.
Let's take a look at some action during the ending portion of the fight, where I think this is the part where he kind of spun him around.
Tapped him on the butt.
Yeah.
One tap, and hit him with a hook.
Have you worked on that move?
Yes, I have. I should get a patent on it, I think.
I like that. I don't know if you can do that, but that's a thought. You get your 70th win as a pro. You're only 24 years of age. You were in against the champion, against Julio Cesar Chavez. You'd like, I guess, to go in against a lightweight champion now.
Yeah, I'd feel comfortable with any of the lightweight champions if the money's right. And, you know, going in with Chavez was a great opportunity for me, but I'd feel more comfortable at 135 pounds. Maybe 130 if the timing was right. I could push it, but right now I feel real comfortable at 135 pounds, and I would fight any of the champions. With the record like 70-1 and being a nice, pretty boxer who don't punch hard, I'm waiting for the phone calls. Come on, fellas.
You made a very good case for yourself. Hey, congratulations, good win.
Thank you, Al. And I just want to say thanks to Mayor Bursick back at home in Whiting for letting us use the gym, and I'll be home Monday, Teresa. I love you.
All right, terrific. You get all the thank yous in, too. Marty is quick not only with his hands and his feet, but with his mouth as well. Well, we will be back with Ringside Report. Stay with us. We got lots to talk about.
Ringside Report is brought to you once again tonight by Sports Cream. When muscles hurt, rub in Sports Cream for fast pain relief. We welcome you back to the Tulsa County Expo Square. We're in the pavilion on the fairgrounds here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Main event still to come. Let's take a look at what's up in the sport of boxing. Headlines of the week. Bent gets a warning, not from any fighter, mind you, but from an MD. Mike Tyson flunks out, not out of school, and actually you might say Mike flunked in. And Ray Mercer is in court. Not on a court, but in a court. Let's take them one by one. Al Bernstein, let's talk first about Michael Benn. He's a guy who we saw get knocked out in London, England last week by Herbie Hyde. He went to the hospital after the fight because he wasn't responding to a physician in the locker room. He is on his way. He's back home now. He passed out on the airplane, we understand. We also understand that earlier that week he was knocked out by a sparring partner. Now his doctors are saying that's enough.
Well, yeah, neurosurgeon John Sutcliffe in England, who examined him, said that they found brain damage with Michael Benn, and he said it was sufficient that it may have been caused even by earlier injuries and just was aggravated. And he said that as far as he's concerned, Michael Benn should not fight again. This was echoed by Benn's manager Stan Hoffman, and they are all urging him not to step in the ring again. And if in fact he does have brain damage, you would hope that any test that would be done by any commission here in the United States or elsewhere would indicate that he shouldn't fight.
Let's talk about Mike Tyson for a moment. He took the GED, that is the high school equivalent test, and he didn't pass it. He has another opportunity to. It's very important to Michael because if he does pass it, he can get out of jail 3 months earlier.
Yeah, and obviously that 3 months or any month that he would be out of jail has an impact on this sport, boxing, because all of the legal things and Mike Tyson's other problems notwithstanding, the people in this sport are anxious to see Mike Tyson come back, at least those that can make money involving it. And if he were to get out early, 3 months is 3 months to them because it'll create one more fight.
And Ray Mercer fighting a little bit of a battle of his own. That's in court now. Remember that situation?
Yeah, and the latest in this saga, in which, if you have not been around, Ray Mercer was accused of trying to bribe Jesse Ferguson during their fight to get Ferguson to lay down so that Mercer can get a shot at Riddick Bowe. Wayne Kelly, the referee, was the latest to testify, and he said he could not hear the alleged bribe happening, though he did acknowledge that there was a lot of talking during that fight. Ironically, he said he was warning Ferguson for more talking than Mercer.
And apparently the HBO tape that nobody had ever heard prior to the time it went to the courtroom, with the exception of the HBO people, was a little bit garbled. There wasn't anything that was really clear on it, so whether or not that really is going to hold any water remains to be seen. We always talk about a future fight here on Ringside Report. We're going to do that right now. This fight takes place on April 14th, and it really should be an interesting fight. Larry Donald against smoking Bert Cooper. No more HBO for Bert Cooper. He's back on ESPN, folks. But Larry Donald is a guy who really seems to be on the improve.
Yeah, Larry Donald is a young man who, when he came into the pros, there's Bert Cooper in an earlier fight. Cooper is a veteran who we wonder what does he have left, and the Donald fight will be his proving ground. Bert's had a couple of tough outings in recent months, but he'd like to show that he still has what it takes. Style-wise, he matches up very well with Larry Donald. Donald, as you see him here in an earlier fight against Mike Dixon, has lots of hand speed and showed a lot of power against Jeremy Williams in a recent win that was very good.
Yeah, he's really getting better, and I give a lot of credit to Jenks Morton, who I really believe is a very, very good teacher.
Jenks Morton has done a lot for Larry Donald, you're right, and what he's gotten him to do is set down in his punches and punch with power, and Jeremy Williams found that out.
Let's talk about our hot topic of the week, and that hot topic is the cruiserweight division. We talk about it all the time. All the cruiserweights, it seems, want to be heavyweights. Now we're starting to see a little bit of a reversal, but still, it's the little guys who want to be big guys, and that's because the big paydays are with the big guys.
Well, the question is to cruise or not to cruise. That is the question. And for Evander Holyfield, the ultimate example of a guy who stepped up from cruiserweight to heavyweight here in one of his championship matches, and a guy who emulated him and told us that Holyfield was his idol was Herbie High.